Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Gypsy Soul podcast, the stories that bind us. My name is Jacqueline Van Bierk. I am your host. I'm a singer, songwriter, artist, composer. I love to inspire and motivate people and bring people together through storytelling. So there's so many interesting people out there. We all have so much more in common than we think we do. With no further ado, my guest today, she's an amazing songwriter, lyricist, mother of 3 children, wife, absolute inspiration. She's always so creative and such a go-getter and such a hard worker in the field. I think you find a lot of inspiration in that, sharing her stories and how she started. Her name is Amira Gadd. And in description below, on YouTube and also on the podcast, you will find more of her information so you can follow her, get in touch with her, maybe collaborate with her. If you like this podcast, please subscribe. If you would like to be on my show, you can find me on jacquelinevanbierk@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook, on Instagram. I would love to connect with you, and please share if this was inspirational to you, if that was of value to you. I appreciate your time. I know there's a lot of things happening, and you taking the time to listen to this. I appreciate this very much. With no further ado, here's my friend and the great songwriter, lyricist, amazing person overall, Amira Gadd. Hello, Amira. How are you?
Fine. How are you? Thank you so much for bringing me on.
Of course. Thank you for coming on a second time after some technical difficulties. How are you doing today? So I'm so happy that you are on because you are such an inspiration to me. You are a songwriter, lyricist, a mother, just an inspiration. You work so hard all the time in the music industry, and it shows because when we first met, we met at a music conference, and then we haven't seen each other in a while, and then all this crazy stuff happened, and everything went online. And everywhere I went, you were there. And I was laughing because I'm like, there she is. Like always there. Every single event, you were there. And I'm like, that is impressive. Because it's not
Same to you. I mean, you were there too, right?
yeah, I tried, but I think you were even at more events. Sometimes I'm like, I saw posts on your side and I'm like, what's happening? Where? And also you are so generous. Whenever there's something going on, you have no problem saying to people, hey, you should check this out, that it could help you. That is really what it's all about in any industry, really, right? Like working together, being generous, and coming from a place of of abundance, versus like scarcity, somebody might take my place or whatever. So I would love to know what you've been up to, your way of do you have a specific way, I'm sure you don't have really a routine because it's hard to have a routine in this time and age, but in this crazy time. But I would love to know what you're doing and how you've gotten to where you are now with your songwriting and with your all these collaborations, because you collaborate a ton.
Okay, well, I'll start with how I started so you'll know how my routine is right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so ever since I was a little girl, I've always loved rhyming. I noticed when I was about 6 or 7 that was what I like to do. And I don't think you know the story about me, but I loved rhyming so much that I actually naturally, when I talk with anybody, my conversations were being rhymed. Like it, yeah. And and people would notice it and they would laugh. And so over time I had to, and I'm not kidding, like Jacqueline, this is like the funny thing about me. I had to relearn and teach myself how to not rhyme when I talk. So it was harder for me the other way because it was natural. It's a natural gift, I guess. So, and I had like a difficult circumstances when I was a little girl and growing up. And so writing, my diaries were in a form of poems and songs. And so I wrote lots of poems, and there were fun ones too, like silly fun ones, kind of like Dr. Seuss, kind of, or sometimes they're like storytelling ones. And I was in a British school when I was younger. And so my teacher noticed that I would do that a lot. And she put me in the performance program in the school that I was in. and she pushed me to narrate poems and then actually be in theater and plays. And so I've always had that. I never thought about it as a career because I've always wanted to be a doctor. That was my true passion at the beginning. But I always done the creative side on the side just for fun. And I used to teach myself piano on like a little toy piano, just like for like I get like melodies in my head and then I just like make up stuff or whatever. I've always wanted to play the piano, but I didn't have the chance to do that. But when I went to college, there was a piano room that was open. It's like some former student who became very a big person, I guess, in the industry. They decided to give back to that college and open up like this performance arts piano section in that college.
Wow.
Yeah. And literally the first year of college, it was brand new pianos right after my dad passed away. And which was weird because it was like I was getting like, so I had piano rooms for free, like it was just so weird. And so so I was taking like pre-med stuff, science classes, and after classes I would go to these piano rooms, and there were different kinds of pianos, keyboards, orgs, everything like grand. And I would for hours, sit down and just play whatever in my head. And I just kind of like, I've always known I played by ear. I never took a piano class. And then I composed 15 pieces and I ended up performing those, like one or two of those on stage.
Incredible.
There was like a talent show and so I've always had that. And then I switched my major to graphic design animation, became an art director. And then later on, I did my master's in business because I kind of wanted to learn how to be my own boss, in a way.
That is so smart.
Yeah. Because when I used to work, my big ideas, I would come up with amazing ideas in the company that I used to work before, and they would use it for like big marketing campaigns, whatnot. But then I discovered that my big ones were the credit went to my supervisor, and that really like. And then later on, when I took my, when I took the, the business degree, like the master's in business degree, the MBA. Not entertainment lawyer, it was a business lawyer that I took a class of. And when I was like asking him, and he said, yeah, he was like, when you work for someone else, that idea belongs to the ideas belong to the company, which I didn't know.
It's so crazy. That is so awesome.
And I thought like, so ever since then, it just kind of, I was like, then why am I working with someone else with these ideas? So I decided to consult my art direction and graphic design ideas for people, and it worked for me during that time because my kids were young and I have 3 kids, so I can choose the consultation hours anytime. And it's not full-time, it's like part-time or whatever, but freelance work, it's not consistent.
Yeah.
It comes and goes, nothing, so, but it was still fine because I'm a hands-on mom. So it just gave me that fulfillment. But at the same time, I wasn't really fulfilled. I love graphic design. I love the art direction of it, but it just didn't. And then about four years ago, or 5 years ago, I had to homeschool my daughter. And it was, when you go through this enlightenment or, awakening in your life. And that happened to me. I was like, I felt rock bottom. I just started asking questions, about, what I want to do in life, why I'm not happy about certain things, it's just like, and that pushed me to think about what I really wanted to do. And so while I was doing that, I decided to just decided to, I found like this website online that said something about like submitting songs and stuff. So I decided to submit a song and that I have written. It was like a country song. And mind you, I don't really listen to country songs a lot. It's just like, I'm more like pop, alternative. But I decided to do that. And I noticed a lot of people wanted that song, and that really clicked in me. Like, okay, if they wanted a song, that means, and not just one person, there's a whole bunch, when I sent that out. So I decided, okay, then, I don't want to give my song to someone else. I want to, maybe take ownership of it or whatever. Like, I just felt like it was best that I get to do it, because I had the melody in my head. It's like, what if they don't do that melody? Kind of like defeats the purpose of the song. And then, so that's when I felt excited and good. I'm like, why don't I just do this, as a career? Like, and
Oh,
I
so
had
wait, the song, it was a lyric?
it was, yeah, during that time, I used to write the lyrics first.
Yeah,
But the melody was in my head.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the melody was in my head. So when I write it, I know how to sing it, but it's just like, but I don't know how to document the melody. It never occurred to me to use my voice notes or anything. It's just like I had it. So when I decided that moment, when I decided that this is what I wanted to do, and I just felt like this is really what I wanted to do, because I felt the excitement and it made me happy. It's like law of attraction. Like, it's just coincidences started to happen. I found out my next door neighbor was my next door neighbor. Her kids were actually prodigies of music. They were homeschooled ever since they're young, so they were way ahead of a lot of people years wise. And so it didn't even occur to me that they were actually musicians, because they're kids, and like early teenagers, and I'm like. And so I was talking to my neighbor, and she was telling me about how they're, one of them is a producer, and the other one is, she's, pianist, guitarist, everything, and it was next door neighbor. So I was like, wow, I was just thinking that I wanted to create, put music on this song that I wrote and stuff. So I said, you know what, let me, I will hire your kids, because I like to benefit the kids in my neighborhood. And I'm like, let me pay them for their time. And I want them to help me, and it worked perfect, because I'm homeschooling my daughter. I don't want to leave her alone, and my other two are in other schools, and I just didn't want to, like, it just, like, my time was so limited. I don't have time to go to, and I, so they guided me to fully produce my song. And it was my first time going into a studio to record everything. We got real musicians, and I got introduced to these people, right? So these young musicians, and I loved it. I loved the feeling of being in a studio. I loved the feeling of creating this song from A to Z. It was happening, but I don't know how it was happening, And then, while I was talking to the guitarist who I got introduced from my neighbor, he was telling me about, why don't I do sync? Because he was telling me, well, like, what are my goals? And I told him, I don't know anything about the industry. He goes like, why don't you do sync? You can make money, and same time you can take care of your kids and all this stuff. So that was the first time I heard about sync and licensing. But I just didn't think about it at that time, because at that time I was trying to figure out what the music industry was all about. And I bought a book about, and the book was about the music industry. It was talking about, like, submitting songs for artists, right? And so that's what I thought the music industry was about. And I thought I wanted to provide lyrics, to artists. And that's how I thought it was, and when I was reading the book, it said you have to provide demos. So my goal at that time was like, okay, let me create demos and send them out to record labels. And I thought that was the right thing to do. And so I wanted to learn more. So when I was Googling about it, I heard about something called ASCAP. And there was the conference was coming up soon, and it looked like really good. It was talking about Justin Bieber, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to be there, like all this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Like, how yeah. So I'm like, oh my God. So and I didn't know what a PRO was, and I found out it's Performance Rights Organization. It's talking about royalties and all this stuff. And then I said, okay, I have to be there, right? So, and then also we talk about law of attraction. I by coincidence, I said, let me create a website about myself, and just to say, talk about, like, I want to be a lyricist. I decided to be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a lyricist. And that day, my daughter was in a gymnastic camp, and she had been really begging me to get introduced to her friend at the camp, her mom, so we can do play dates. And that day, when I decided that I'm going to create a website and say that I'm a lyricist, the girls, like, pulled our hands to each other, like the moms, right? And then, like, you know what, this is, and then my daughter introduced me to her friend, and her friend was Lyra. I'm like, Lara, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, right. And then
Wow.
my mom turned out to be a country singer who opened up for Reba McEntire. And and I
Incredible.
didn't think like I was gonna meet a singer here because I thought everybody was in LA, right? Or country singers are in Nashville. You know, I didn't even think that, you know, so I thought like everything started opening up. And I knew during that time that music industry is really cutthroat. I know how hard it is. At that time, I was turning almost 40, and I knew I was kind of late in the game. So, excuse me. So I told myself that I would not give up, and I gave myself 300 doors to open before I decide to walk away. And literally, Jacqueline, like I felt like um, the doors started to open at door number 3, I think. So it just kept me going, and it felt like Alice in Wonderland. The more
Yeah.
you open
Yeah.
doors, the more you find something. So it was
Mm-hmm.
nice, and I enrolled in a music industry mentorship because I wanted to learn more, and I met the mentor at ASCAP, and he was the second person to tell me about licensing because he was asking me about my goals and whatnot and stuff. So I guess because we talked about licensing, my phone picked it up, and during that time, Catch the Moon.
Incredible. It's so
Yes,
incredible. When you
so
put it
it
out
is.
there,
Yeah, yeah.
it all shows up.
Yeah, so the Catch a Moon 5-day challenge popped up on my phone, and I'm like, what is this? It talks about TV and licensing. So I'm like, what? Like, at that time I thought that was also like a universe thing, but of course, now that we know that the phone spies on us, but hey, it works.
It's spooky.
Right? Yeah. But it works, right? Like it really made me be where I am right now. So
Yeah.
So I was in the second mentorship program when I started with them, and that was like 2 years ago. And then and the first mentorship introduced me to Susan Koch, who is a songwriting coach.
Yeah, she's
And she
amazing.
helped me a lot because I was more like poetic when I wrote songs, and she helped me hone my craft in terms of writing conversational songs. And that was the key to my success because I had great concepts and ideas. And then she also discovered that I had catchy melodies, and she said, you're not just a lyricist, you're a songwriter. And which I thought that was important. I didn't think like that I was a songwriter until she told me. And so that opened up more possibilities because I didn't know that. I kind of limited myself to just saying lyricist. So I became that. And then the more I created songs, the more I discover artists, and I have all these friends that I work with. And so I just established amazing friendship from the first one, for first mentorship, which we met for the first time at Costa Rica because the mentorship had something called like a songwriting retreat. And
Oh my
so it was
God.
amazing. Yeah, Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Yes.
You have to tell me about it because I love Costa Rica and it's on my bucket list. I don't know what it is. It keeps calling me, and now you're saying that, so obviously there's something there. The law of attraction,
Yes,
right?
you have to go there. Yes. We were in a remote area in Costa Rica. And so it was right at the beach. So the hotel that we stayed in was amazing. The food was amazing. I mean, it's just the food was true organic food. You're talking about like maybe because it was remote too. So
Right.
it kind of reminded me of how food used to taste a long time ago.
Oh my God, yes.
The real food before like the pollution increased. So it was true food there, of course. I slept like a baby. It was my first time traveling on my own.
Oh my
And so the
God.
minute I was in the plane, I literally slept like it was the purest deep sleep ever. And then even over there, like at night, like, I don't know, maybe the weather too, and maybe because I was having a really good time being around these people, like-minded people. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people is amazing.
Yeah, of
They're all
course.
creative. They're all creative, and I loved the program too because it was really packed. Like we had fun at night, but during the day, like one of my mentors was Rick Barker,
Oh yeah.
You know, he's
Taylor
the
Swift. Yeah.
former, manager of Taylor Swift. So that to me was exciting. I'm
Of
like,
course.
it's like, I didn't think that was possible. And here it is, it's possible, right? So
Yeah.
there are other amazing mentors. And it was overall like an amazing experience.
How
The
long
one,
was that? How long was that?
5 days.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
5 days. 5 days. Um, and I just, it was such a great moment of my life. And I got to ask all the questions that I wanted to. And then I took my notepad. I just, like my notepad and my pen, I have this all the time. And I literally went to every single person and asked if they wanted to collaborate with me. And I wrote down every single person's name and
I
phone
love
number.
that.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
about 30 artists, certain, and some are producers, whatever. And I have to tell you, I was able to collaborate with more than half of them. Yeah, I almost 20. So like maybe 10 that it fell off, or like we didn't really keep in touch, but almost
Yeah.
20 people that I collaborated
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
And we're still friends. And so I realized I created this team around me. And so it's so good. And so I ended up having people from the first mentorship, and then the second one, Catch the Moon, during that time they gave us assignments to work on. And then I was active during that time. ASCAP, I got introduced to a few, and then there was another songwriting camp that I got introduced to. Like my major songs that I have is from these people, and so I
Oh
realized the
wow.
more I showed up and I got to be friends with. So anytime I get like assignments, I would reach out to anybody who would match the assignment, whether it's
Mm.
vocally or production or genre wise, because everybody is, they have their different, nuisance or a style, whether it's R&B and hip hop or rap or pop. You can't use one person, right? So I discovered that, hey, I'm creating myself a team around me of people. And thankfully, because I'm the kind who loves to keep in touch. And so
I
it was
love that.
easy for me to, yes, yeah, it's so important. It was easy for me to come up to people and ask them if they wanted to collaborate, because I already had that, the introduction, you know what I mean? And so when I would say, hey, do you want to work on a song with me? It wasn't awkward. It wasn't weird. It wasn't like, can I trust her or trust him or whatever? I kind of established that relationship. So it was thankfully very good for me to do. And then also plus, I needed producers, and I pay them. And I can't pay all of every single time, and so there was
Oh,
knowing all these people, and it saved me a lot of money in terms of whether hiring
Michael.
very, yeah,
That.
because the first time I did my demo, like the first country song, the first singer I had to hire, I paid her $500 for the session. Yeah,
Wow.
it was a demo, and I paid $2,500 for that song.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
I did not know. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
important. So my demos, the first demos, I literally, I saved money from, like, you talk about, like, when you're saving money for like the rainy days.
Yeah.
I spent on 5 demos that like
Oh
did not,
shoot.
yeah, and they were not modern or anything. They were just my idea, whatever. I spent $11,000, my last cent, because I really, really wanted it to happen. And then now I find out like they weren't, like, everybody would hear it. They're like, no, you got to change this. You got to modernize this. You got to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you're so honest about this, because it's in one way or another, we all make mistakes and we all lose money on whatever. Whether you take a course that you're like, oh, that was really not good, like, or
Yeah.
like things like that. But it's a lesson. And I want people to know that sometimes you beat yourself up. You're like, oh my God, but it is what it is. And it's a lesson that you had to pay for, I wanted to, without interrupting you too long, I wanted to just like point out that for aspiring artists, singers, songwriters who are wanting to do that, one way to get around that is definitely collaborating, right? Like if I say I can produce or I can sing, but why don't we split it? Because I've done that where I'm like, well, I can't pay you to mix, but I really want you to mix, and maybe I'll just get you in on I'll give you like equal splits of writing, And then sometimes it might not be the smartest thing to do either, because if the song blows up, you'll share like your songwriting. But for me, it's always been about just thinking abundantly, and not worrying about that. But I love that you're admitting that. And I also want to point out like what I love about you so much, and what everybody needs to do more of is collaboration.
Yes.
Because I've seen so many times, and I've done it too in the beginning, you go to a conference, right? And even like online, it's a little bit more awkward because you trying to like hit up people like on the chat. But people sometimes are hesitant to like ask or talk.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. You're there. The point is to meet people. The point is to connect and make new connections. So it's not, don't be afraid to walk up to someone and start a conversation.
Yes. And yeah, there's nothing, I mean, let me tell you something. At ASCAP, when I went, I was like a girl in a candy shop, right? And I printed business cards, and I was just like, here's my business card for Lyricist. I saw with my own eyes people taking it and then throwing it under the chair after that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do that. But 2 out of the hundreds that I give the business cards are really close friends now. And one of them actually has about 5 million followers on TikTok.
Nice.
Yes, and she's the one of the most talented people right now, and she's like literally blowing up right now. And
Awesome.
and yeah, and I had she was still not sure what she's gonna do. I heard her sing there at a showcase, and I went up to her. I said, "Can I get to know you? I really, really, really love your voice." And I actually did 2 songs with her. And right now she's so busy. I can't, and it's hard to kind of. But we keep in touch. Like, I've always followed her stuff and stuff. So it's okay. I mean, of course, I have to tell you, when I was at ASCAP, I mean, and I saw Jason Ross was like right in front of me, and Edwin McCain was, and I loved it. But I went home that day thinking, there is no way I can break through this industry,
Yeah.
and I as much as I loved it, I felt a little bit defeated. I'm like, and especially when I saw the people throwing the business cards on the floor, and I'm thinking, and then after that, I'm like, no, I realized after when I talked to the mentor, like, there is no such thing as people hiring just lyricists. And I guess maybe that was a long time ago, that how the industry used to work. And so, so I decided to hire myself. And I'm like, you know what? I have ideas and whatever. And my favorite inspiration is, when opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. I decided when opportunity doesn't knock, build a song. And that's what I've been saying, like doing, it makes me feel happy regardless. And I'm not going to lose. I know all these people. And then when I was at Catch the Moon, they gave us a lot of assignments. It kind of pushed me to kind of build my catalog. And the more I collaborated, and the more I knew what I wanted. And so, like, you're talking about mistakes, like, oh, I like that type of collaboration. Some were like so easy and some were complicated.
Yeah.
And so I kind of knew how to deal with people. And in this industry, it's all about that, like how to deal. And so I learned a lot from so many of these collaborations. And 95% of it was absolutely successful. 5% was kind of like, weird. But it is what it is, and I actually learned from it. It made me stronger. So I do encourage people to collaborate. It's fun, and we miss seeing people now that we're in lockdown. It gives me that satisfaction that I'm seeing someone, right? Thank God for Zoom. Imagine if we don't have Zoom at all or anything in this lockdown, like the whole world is like literally shut down. But we do have Zoom, right?
Yeah.
And so. And then also, what I wanted to say is, like, karma really works in mysterious ways. When I was in Costa Rica, when we're coming back, my husband, he booked a room for me in the hotel because it was like a 1-day overlay or something, like an overnight. And it was really nice. It was at a Hyatt inside of the airport, right beside where the terminal is. And so I was walking with a whole bunch of people, and I told them I have to go here and stuff. And then they I looked at them, they were like, having all these guitars and stuff with them, and they're just, and the chairs looked like it was plastic and cold, and they were just like, okay, bye and stuff. So I told them, you know what, why don't you guys come and put your stuff in my room? And I had them come over in my room, and they were just so happy, and it just like felt like cozy kind of thing. So some had their work out and they started, sitting down on the table, like writing down on the desk, like in the room desk. And some, one of them had, they got burnt from Costa Rica's surfing. They tried a surfing lesson there, and they're not in. They're coming from an area where there's snow, so they got burnt right away.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was very good for them to sit down on a comfortable chair rather than the airport, because the back was hurting them, right? So it was nice. So what happened was, one of the artists who was in the room with me, and I decided to share my space with that person. She ended up getting selected and the following asked up in the showcase, women international show, like the She Rocks, and she chose the song that me and her collaborated in, one of the songs,
nice.
after Costa Rica. Yeah, and they chose it to be performed at ASCAP, at the same place that I, the year before, felt like I felt defeated, and that that I would never wait. And and I couldn't afford going to this conference because I was spending money on my production, on producers and whatnot. And I got invited because the song was being there. She invited me as her guest, so I ended up going for free at that showcase.
So awesome.
So it was like, it blew my mind how it came back full circle. And it was just like, you know what, it happened. And after a year, exactly, not even like 2 years or anything. So it just felt like, you know what, every time I felt like, okay, I can't do this, or this is hard, it's things keep on opening for me. And
I think I love everything you're saying, because it is living proof that when you put good out,
yes,
good comes always back to you. It's the law of attraction. I've heard several people, like, I don't like complainers. When they start complaining, I know they have issues. And it's not that they're bad people. It's just that they have still some baggage, some old programming, right? But I always tell people, I'm like, there's a lot of great people in this industry. There's a lot of great opportunity.
yes, absolutely.
And you have to be obviously tough for this, because it's not an easy industry. It's not, nothing happens immediately. Sometimes it does for people. It does happen, but there's no, this is the way to go, right? There's like so many different
you gotta work
paths.
for it. Yeah.
You got to show up, you got to do the work, and you just got to put yourself out there. And you've been doing that, and that just shows that things happen. I love this. It just,
and I have to say, I show up because I absolutely love it, and because I want to. Like,
yes.
I'm not just there just because. I really, really, with all my heart, want to learn everything about the industry the right way. It keeps on evolving. There's so many rules that are outdated, and there are so many new rules coming in, and they're clashing. And so I want to make sure, I really want to do this. I want to, my intention is to, do what I love and make money out of it as much as I can,
Absolutely.
and with all my collaborations, I make sure with everybody that this is my intention. Like, let's have fun, because we all have this talent and we all have this gift, and let's try to see how we can make this money, make money out of it as much as we can.
Absolutely.
It's hard because, it's kind of like not on the artist side, the industry, when it comes to payment, but it's doable. It's, I'm seeing results bit by bit, and my hashtag is kind of like no song left behind. So any song I work on, I don't like the fact that, I have a song and that's it. It's collecting it's collecting dust on the shelf.
Yeah.
So I make sure that it's being pitched somewhere. I'm working it, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I was going to say that's so important, and I've been guilty of it too, where you finish a song, and then it's also really nice when you work with people that are on the same page, because that's the whole point of collaboration, leverage, right? Like, so that you have, instead of you just doing the job, 3 people or 4 people are doing the job, 4 people are really pushing the song. And I think, to your point, artists versus like sync, I think sync is even better, because you have so much more opportunity. You don't have to go on the road. You don't have to perform anywhere. You just when you're lucky, and you will get lucky, and the opportunities come, you get placements in TV shows and in a
Yeah, and it's
commercial,
work for you. Yeah.
exactly, you make your song work for you. It's like an investment. It's like the stock market,
Yeah.
One last question was Costa Rica, because I'm so obsessed with it now that
Yes.
you mentioned again. What is something that I definitely need to look out for, or that I maybe like should definitely be aware of if I go there? Because I've heard different things. And I'm kind of like you. I'm very, I'm a free spirit. Like I don't worry about things. I don't walk around, even in my neighborhood, I don't walk around with like a knife in my pocket. I feel like that's attracting trouble. So I've always been kind of just like, everything is going to be fine, but sometimes it's a little bit of like, not the smartest thing, but it's worked for me this far in my life. But is there something that I should look out for, or like that going there, I should be aware of?
Well, for sure, yeah. So when I went to Costa Rica, after we're done with the, because we went in November, so the days are kind of shorter, right? So after we were done with our classes and workshops, it was like 5 o'clock. We only had like 30 minutes to go to the beach all together, and then after that it's like nighttime party, right? So we partied a lot, which is I love, 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 love. It was so good, and you got to see and talk with the people more and get to know them more, and I loved it because it was all around the world. You've got people who came from Germany, you got people from
Nice.
Canada, and it's so nice. It's so nice. Um so what happened was there was there was this one situation where everybody was partying hard, and they just wanted to like keep on going, and there's just a few of us who wanted to go back to the hotel because we were getting so sleepy, right? It was like already midnight, and I wanted to go with them, right? And then somebody from the party wanted to ask me a question, so I was answering that person the question and was talking to them, and I didn't realize, I thought they were waiting and I thought they were waiting for me, but then I looked back and they were gone. They already left, and the others wanted to stay. Like everybody was like hi, dancing and everything. So and I was like so like sleepy. I'm like, do I wait or do I do what? So I decided that I will go back and walk to the hotel. Mind you, it's a remote area, right?
Oh my God.
And I don't remember how to go back again, but I already started walking in the dark. I did see my mentor looked at me like, what is she doing? But I don't think he really realized that I don't think he even occurred to him that I was actually going to start walking by myself,
Oh my
because
goodness.
he maybe thought I was like, look, he's just like looking at the, but I did. And it was pitch dark black, and there were monkeys there. Yeah, by the way, there were free monkeys walking around, but they were screaming and screeching at night, and it's in the jungle.
Oh God.
My phone was not charged, so I couldn't use the flashlight, I mean.
Oh
And
God.
there was a lot of potholes on the floor because it rains once in a while. Like it rains like 2-3 times during the day, and then there's the sun and whatnot. Like so it's like a kind of like a rainforesty kind of feel. And so there was a lot of potholes,
Oh.
and yeah, and so I had to literally walk pitch dark black. It kind of reminded me of a movie that I heard about. I don't remember what's the name of the movie, but I remember the guy. It's like a sci-fi movie. Who went back in time. He accidentally stepped on a butterfly, right? And so it really ruined the timeline of like the future. So when he went back, everything was like more savage. So the small monkeys turned into like those huge monkeys with like big prehistoric teeth kind of thing. And
Oh
they
my
sounded the same. It sounded the same.
God.
So I just
No.
realized how stupid I was, right? I really realized. And I was like, you know what, God, I'm stupid. I am stupid. I literally said it out loud. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I'm admitting here. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to live, please, just for my kids, I don't care about me, but like, just let me go back home to my kids. And I kept on walking. And I remember it was like, I had to make a choice between going forward or making a left or something. And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know. And I'm walking because of the moonlight. Like that's the only light that I have.
Oh my God.
So I just kept going, and then I hear like a beach boogie thing and there was two guys on it, and I didn't want to look at them. And I remember they stopped and they looked at me, and I looked at them really quickly. And again, they had that look on their eyes, like, what the hell is she doing? Like, seriously, like, I think they wanted to see if I was lost, or like, or
Oh
something.
my
But in
God.
my mind, I'm like, they're going to kill me. They're going to do something or whatever. Right. And then from far, far away, I see like little tiny dots, sparkling dots. And I'm like, maybe these are the hotel lights. And then I kept on going towards it. And then it turned out to be the hotel lights. And I'm like, I did it. So
Oh my
I do not
God.
recommend that, because guess what? That was 1 week before Thanksgiving. And that Thanksgiving particular one, there was somebody from America who went to Costa Rica, and she decided to stay one more day by herself without her cousin, because they were supposed to leave one day before Thanksgiving. Her birthday was on Thanksgiving itself, and she stayed, and she got murdered.
Oh
She
my
got raped,
God.
she got murdered. So do not walk by yourself anywhere, not just Costa Rica. At night, if you're in a foreign country, yes, I felt like I could do it, but then
Right.
like 5 minutes into it, I couldn't go back because it was already dark, and I
Yeah.
didn't know where to go.
Oh my God.
Because there's no street lights, anything. And that particular place that we were in, the lights were coming from within the bar or whatever. So everything was dim, 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 right?
Oh my God. That is so spooky.
Don't do that. I do not recommend.
You're crazier than me. I've walked like in cities like at night by myself, but like I don't think I would have done that.
Well, I was so sleepy, and I really wanted to wake up early to catch the sunrise and
Yeah.
beach, because we started at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I only had that
Yeah.
6:30 to, like, enough time just go and just be in the beach and then go back again. And then also the whole idea that this is the first time I traveled by myself and I can do it. I guess I was in that moment that I can do it. I can do anything, right? Don't. Don't. So yeah, but it gave me a rush, I guess. And I was like, yay, like this is something that I can talk about. Like,
I know. You know what? I have to say though, I've been single for a while now, and I've been traveling a lot alone, and I enjoy it. I really like it because I mean, obviously, when you have a family, it's great. You share that with your kids and with your husband, but I think it shouldn't hold you back if you don't have that. Because it's what
I
I
can
like
eat
is
without interruption. I can
yeah,
have a
yeah,
conversation without interruption.
yeah. And you
And
can watch what you want, like without having to okay, I want to see this, I want to see that. So it's kind of
exactly, take my time, because
yeah,
there are several times I mean, long story short, we were in London one time, and then we were friends in one time, and I wanted to go like the Louvre. I studied fine arts, so that was like my time, right? And as soon as I started interpreting like a portrait, Leonardo da Vinci, and I was just like
yeah.
it's right in front of me. And then everybody's like, let's go. I'm like, I just started. They were like, no, they saw the
I
whole
know.
thing. Like, when it's supposed to take you 7 days to finish
Yes.
the loop,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was done in 30 minutes. So I'm like, no. And
Oh my God. No.
I swore, I said, I'm gonna go back by myself and just take my time. And especially in Europe, there's so much details
So
everywhere
much.
around you, and
Yeah.
you can't rush that.
I would say like what I do is if I don't have a lot of time, if I have only like 2, 3 days, I've done it with my mom where we just go to Paris, then we go to Rome. We'll just take that bus tour because that's great. Then you
Yes,
see like
the
the
bus tour.
main,
Yeah.
yeah, do you see the main attractions? And then you can stop and like get out and at least see like, and then roam around. I like to roam around in the,
Yeah, we've done that before.
yeah,
But what I want to do is like, I really want to go into countryside,
yeah,
and like,
exactly. You roam like where
there's
the locals
yeah,
are.
there's other areas that you don't see, and
Yeah.
it's like not
Hmm.
crowded,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm glad to hear that it was a great retreat because I've been to several and I have to say, not much happened from that. And maybe that was also my own fault, but I'm glad to hear that good
Which
things.
one have you been to?
I went to the Hawaiian Songwriter Festival.
Oh, I heard about that one.
Yeah, which was great. I mean, I love Hawaii. I've never been. I've always wanted to go, and it was really beautiful. And if there's a retreat on an island, um, no people don't have they can't go anywhere, so they're all staying at the island, so you really get a chance to mingle with everybody. And obviously everybody's in a great mood because you're by the water and everybody's like-minded people being together. I think that is just so invigorating and exciting, and and the other one I went to, that was a while ago. It was like the Media Music Festival. That was not really a writer retreat, but we
That's
did
in
one.
France, right?
Yeah, it's in France.
Yeah.
It's I highly recommend it. That was really worldwide,
I want to try that one. Yeah.
yeah. And then I went to a castle retreat once also in France. And that was just like the beginning stage of the guy doing that. But I mean,
Is this a songwriting retreat?
it was a songwriting retreat.
Yeah, because I heard Sia and Rihanna go to that one.
It's probably a different one, but the one, it was this guy doing it at a castle, but the idea was great, but the songs didn't get finished really. And that was kind of a bummer actually, but it was a learning. Some of them were not really worth it,
Oh, okay.
pushing. But
which castle was this? This sounds amazing.
The what? Oh,
Which
so
castle?
I don't remember exactly the name, but it was also a bummer because the castle was really we were not in the castle. We were like by the castle. I'm like,
By the castle. I was like starting to like visualize you in stones and like
it was gorgeous, and we were hanging out there, but it was not like, it was cold. So anyway, it was just kind of
so that must be the castle that Sia and Rihanna are staying at, and you guys were on the side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were like closed. But it was still a great experience, because I believe that even if it didn't work out the way you wanted to, it's about the experience. And like,
Yes,
I did meet some great people there. But I highly recommend whenever people get a chance.
We should. I love stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just awesome. How do you manage, because especially right now kids are at home, and you have 3 kids, how do you manage, and what is your recommendation or your advice for others who may have the same issue, not issue, but like the same situation? How do you manage, doing the kids, doing your collaborations, being a mom, and being a wife, and being all of these things? That's impressive.
I mean, of course, I try to plan as much as I can, and my list keeps on growing. Like, let me show you. Like, every day I started with one, but then now I have like, look at this. Like, this is like,
I love this.
I know, and it's not even. And I can't read some of my handwriting. I can't even, like, some of them are scratches, some are not. But they're not even organized because everything keeps on coming, and I just write it down before I forget. And some of them like maybe like over here, like metadata for this song, and then ortho appointment for my daughter. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even make sense, right? So, and I try to scratch as much as I can and go back and see. And sometimes I don't even go back to what I'm supposed to do because
love it.
But so I just do it because I have to and I want to. This is like my me time. Writing songs is literally everybody's asking me like, what is your downtime or free time? This is what makes me happy. It really did. I used to surf. I really love surfing, and it's like my happy time. And songwriting is my happy time as well. But right now I can't because we're locked down, and my kids are in school right now online. So I can't really leave and just go, right? So so songwriting is the only time I have for myself, and and because I want it so much and I want it to work so much, I just do it. And so, like, let's assume I have a Zoom meeting, I throw in a laundry load before, and after I'm done, I go back, put it in the dryer, and then I start on something else, and then go back again and like heat up water for soup, like chicken soup or whatever, and then it's just like I have to do it, like whatever comes in my way, and on the way of doing things, I have to solve problems at home or, respond to something. And like, for example, I get like interruptions that are not supposed to be interrupted. My kid, I have a blocking app for them on my phone. So that way I block them so they don't go into anything that's like R-rated or whatever. Or if they exceed like a certain time on their Xbox or whatnot, so I just block them, right? They figure out my password and they blocked me. And they put me under teen, right?
Oh shit.
Yes, and I didn't know. And so for 2 hours in the morning, my precious time while in their class, and I'm trying to finish stuff. I can't go on IMDb. I cannot go on YouTube. And I'm like, is the Wi-Fi not working? Because, it's like we've been having Wi-Fi issues. Everybody's on Zoom and, like overload. So, but 2 hours. And then and then I just discovered that. And so when I'm trying to confront them, everybody's blaming the other. And then all three decided that my husband blocked me, right? So situations like this, it's funny, it's hilarious, but then I wasted 2 hours or 3 hours trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So it is what it is. And so I do it, like I reply to emails if I'm at the market in the line, right? Or during the time when I'm picking up my kids in pickup time, right? This is where I finish my idea or whatever. The thing is, what I do, I tell people, just do it. Like Nike, just do it.
Just do it.
As soon as I get an idea in my head, I write it down. And then as soon as I write it down, I call people who I think should be on it. Because if I don't, it's not going to go anywhere. And so I train myself in a way that if I have an idea in my head, I really work on it right away. And I'm a good accountability partner too. So I keep on, because I don't like the feeling of things not finished, especially with songs. With my life, it's impossible. but with songs, especially knowing that how trends come and go, you kind of have to push it to finish. Otherwise, it's going to be outdated eventually. So
I needed to hear that because
these are always urgent. I don't know what we're all stuck in the house, but urgent. So it's like, I know, because how urgent they are, I really want to finish it as soon as I can and hop on that train of whatever they're looking for, You
know what? I think also with that said, I used to do a lot of those, and I like it because I love deadlines. Like if you give me a deadline, I get it done. And you telling this right now makes me feel so guilty, and I needed to hear this again because I've been slacking on. I haven't finished a lot of songs that I really owe that to my collaborators, because it makes me look bad too, and it makes me,
You had circumstances too, so
I did, but still, like now's the time. I'm like, finish it, and it gets overwhelming. But starting with one thing and then just like getting it done, it feels so good. And I think also I stopped a little bit. Like I still love deadlines and the rush things, but I also realized, when you focus on writing something that's timeless, that's always a good approach, because then, you're not just chasing trends that, like, let's say back, a few years back when I was like really like everybody wanted like dubstep, or like everybody wanted like the Black Keys, like that kind of stuff. And then you kind of date yourself. But if you do something that's like, it could work anytime. Anywhere, that's also good.
I mean, the more the authentic the song is, the better. And right now, this is what I'm doing. I chase the deadlines, and I'm burnt out, to be honest. Urgent briefs.
It's stressful.
It's better to finish the song and have everything ready, so that when the urgent briefs come, all you have to do is just submit it, right? So
building a catalog.
So now it's like I'm at the stage of the building a catalog. Unless somebody wants a song, it's urgent brief. They want it now, and they pay me like so much money.
Of course.
Drop everything. And make sure that I get paid for it, the down payment, and I see the down payment. Then I will go ahead and do that for sure. I can do that. But then right now, the whole idea of dropping everything or chasing the stress of it, and then you don't know even if it's going to work or not. I don't know if I want to do that anymore.
Well, because we're not the only ones.
I've tried it and I learned from it and I loved it. I don't regret it at all. I loved it because it made me realize and understood so much about the industry in such a short time. And also about the dynamics between me and my collaborators. I got to see who is willing to really work on this, even when it's rushed, and how good they are. And so it really like highlighted a lot of things. So now that I understood it, I feel like I'm ready to move on to a different level, or like a different stage. Because you can't really stay still, and you have. I want to, like I said, I want to learn so much, and now I feel like I want to try something that will up my game, and and we'll
absolutely see. I will say I've written songs that I would have never written because of those briefs, and that's great. That's great. I was like, oh wow, that was cool. Because like pressure, when people say, oh, I'm not inspired, I don't believe in that, because I think that
I'm inspired all the time.
you know, if you're not inspired, go hit someone up. But it's so important, your point, to hit people up that you know are up for it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Their
Yeah,
game, you have a great idea, you know exactly who to work with, who to contact,
exactly.
and then you get it done, and bam, you got another jewel in your box that when the time comes, you can pitch it, you know. So important. How do you feel about, so the kids being home? How do you feel about that? I'm always curious because I obviously don't have kids. I don't have to deal with it. But I feel like is that a good way for the kids, or are they struggling? Are they?
They're struggling. I feel so bad for them. I feel so bad because when we were at their age, we didn't have to worry about not touching, not hugging, not, like so many
No.
ultra rules that are not natural, because naturally you touch, naturally you know what I mean? So and we conditioned them that too much screen time is not good for them. But now we're actually telling them, sit down from 8:30 till 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
Oh my God.
And so at first, the first 2 weeks, they were really good with that. But then after that, they got really tired, and their eyes are always bloodshot. And
That's so
like
not healthy.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
And the ophthalmologist told me, because my daughter needed glasses. He said that all the generation that are doing this right now, in 2 years, everybody's gonna wear glasses.
Oh my
Because it turned out that
goodness.
you're supposed to be in sunlight for 2 hours in order
Yeah.
to have your eyes healthy.
Yeah.
You have to drink water, you have to exercise, and then of course you have to every like 20 minutes, 30 minutes get up and then
Take
try
a
to look
break.
at the horizon or whatever. So, and who does that? Like, I'm addicted to memes. I can sit down and like literally, like, I can sit down for hours, like, it's my winding time. Like, I love that. So and then they're just like, they're bored. And then we stopped a lot of activities that they used to do. My son still does some soccer practices from far away. He's the only one, but everybody else, my daughter, she used to do basketball. She's not, so it's,
Yeah.
and they got, so, and they're depressed. I can tell that they're depressed. Like, they're, my youngest, who just turned 10, literally just turned 10. She was telling me, you know what, Mama, sometimes I just look out there and just think about life, about what is life and why we're here and stuff. And
Wow.
yeah, 9-year-old, like nine, I
That's
was
deep.
climbing trees and skating and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it made me feel so bad. And my high schooler, she's upset. She's missing out from her high school experience. But I think
Yeah.
what's really bothering her is that we're really taking the pandemic very serious. But her friends aren't, or like, so a lot of people are right now going out without her because like we're so limited in what we're doing and we have so many
Yeah.
rules. And so she's like, at first she was like so angry at us. But now that she's seeing that a lot of people are getting COVID and a lot from her school are getting COVID, now she's like started to get convinced, right? But
Good.
it's just the struggle of having that conversation with the kids and and we don't know what's happening. We don't know what's going to happen. And so even when I say soon, they're like, when soon? Like, we don't know. Like, if you try to tell them in 2 weeks, like how the governor's saying or whatever, then you're like, oh, you're lying. You said, so it's like that constant emotional baggage or like stress that I have to deal. It's not the physical. But I just tell them, like, you know what, it's, everything happens for a reason. This is good in a lot of ways. We don't rush a lot of things. We needed just to calm down and reflect. And everybody's reflecting. Like, my kids are reflecting. Everybody's reflecting, and Earth healed in a way because we all sat down and we stopped like traveling a lot or like using the cars a lot. So I feel like there are some good things out there, and I feel like for me, I feel like it gave me more opportunities to network because everybody's available. Before, I used to drive almost 3 hours to Los Angeles because of traffic. So I was always like stuck in traffic. And most of the people that I wanted to meet, they're not available, so you meet people either like their secretaries or whatnot. Now everybody is available because nobody has a lot of work or they can't drive or do anything. So I'm seeing the blessings out of it, and so I'm trying to, see if I can hone my craft, if I can build my catalog and do this while everything comes back to normal, new normal.
The new normal, for sure. Yeah, I like it too, because I feel that I would have not been able to attend a lot of meetings if it wasn't for
right?
what's happening, because everything is online now, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. I can go to any meeting now, any
Well, between you and
conference.
me, sometimes I will attend two at the same time.
Yeah, you know,
You know, you're asking me like, how am I doing it? I'm all over the place. I'm like, I'm listening and I'm listening and I'm like texting like this because I don't want to miss either. Right? I want to ask that person a question and I want to ask that person a question, but
yeah, I think this is really good. And also, you know, we've become so hustle, run, rushing, always like we've forgotten to live life and appreciate the little things. Like, you know, I always smell flowers. Like, I just love nature. I love being out in nature, but I see people, they're like robots, you know, they don't
stop and smell.
They're not even in touch anymore with the inner, you know, walking barefoot in the grass, like getting grounded. They just like so on automatic, you know, going to their job, coming back home, watching the TV, and also watching TV, I think is so not healthy because especially the news, because they're so fear mongering and negative, you know, that
and lying. They're liars.
They're liars
with lies.
So many lies and so much scarcity that is also what makes us sick. That's how you're prone to getting sick, you know, by just worrying, because that's negative energy in your body that is definitely a dis-ease, you know, can turn into dis-ease. So I think it's very
feel the anxiety in the air.
Yeah, you know, so it's very important, like to take this time to meditate and ground yourself and do the things you love, because this is the time given to us from the universe saying, hey, you know,
time to
slow
do it.
down, slow down. What do you really want? Where do you really want to be, you know? And then just go after it, because time is too short. Like, we are so blessed that we are here still and we survived this whole crazy ass year, you know?
Yes.
So many blessings, so much to be grateful for. And I'm grateful that you took this time to talk to me, because I just think that when it's so inspiring to hear people like you that have a great positive attitude and you deal with the things you have to deal with, your family, you know, it just, you have to do it. There's no way around it. You can't say, well, I can't take care of my kids right now. Like,
do it. I know.
Just do it, you know. And I love that.
Sponsor me.
Yeah. And I love that you're also like, because I do this too. And sometimes I feel like, oh my God, I wish I could just be a bit more organized and do this like every day. Like, and I do, but not, we are a little bit chaotic. And I think that, and
I'm actually letting go of a system. Yeah. And because I used to be like a type A personality and everything has to be exact, but I can't anymore. And it used to stress me out. But when I started to let go of those little things, and I'm enjoying my chaos, like I'm actually loving it. It's not bad. Like, it's okay. Right. So yeah, you kind of have to train yourself, you know, like anything in life is, to me, it's like exercise. We think it's only physical exercise, but then you have to exercise your brain, you have to exercise your talent, you have to exercise the way, you know, the way you think, actually. Because actually being a positive person, it's not, I mean, it is in a way given. Some people have it more than others naturally. But I think everybody has to train themselves to keep it going, you know what I mean? Or to and it's okay to be negative sometimes. I'm not saying like negative as in pessimistic or like I'm not talking about like evils. I'm talking about like, if you're sad, you know, acknowledge it instead of like sweeping it under the rug. And that's what we were conditioned to do. I think it's okay for us to acknowledge that if you're sad, then stop what you're doing. And sit down and just reflect on it, or, you know, whatever. And that's something that I've been doing. But then I like anything that's happy and funny and silly. I'm addicted to memes, like I said. So I'm training myself to be that in a way. Like,
what's your favorite meme?
Oh, memes. Kermit the Frog memes. I'm liking the new Baby Yoda ones too. I mean, there's a lot of funny stuff on TikTok right now too. My kids actually show it to me, and I'm just like dying laughing. But, I like a lot of the producer memes. They're like that funny cat that you see on the right, and then there's always that two ladies from Desperate Housewives, like they're fighting or crying.
No.
Oh my God, this is like they're hilarious ones. I'll send you some.
Okay.
And then of course the lady cat one, the one who has tigers or cats.
I don't know.
Baskin, what's her name? Carol Baskin. The Carol Baskin memes are hilarious.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I see memes here and there. There's a few people I follow on Instagram that just like last night, there's this one thing. It's not a meme, but it's like this little video of this girl calling up the wrong daddy.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
When I need to laugh, I watched it. I crack up because it's just so freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
So funny. And we need that. And I think you're right. It's like we have a choice. And I've been really emotional too, because I'm planning on leaving LA and again, and I've been just crying, you know, like I've been just feeling really sad sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah,
you know, because
right.
Overall, I'm a very positive person too, but I think people assume that, you know, when we go on social media, everybody looks like, oh, they got their shit together and they're doing all this stuff and they're so happy and they got it all. And we all struggle in one way or another. But at the end of the day, it's a choice, you know, do I stay there or do I
choose
to
dwell on it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
you know,
the dwelling part of it. I mean, you kind of have to push yourself out, and it's hard, but you really have to push yourself out of it just for your sake first before everybody else. You know, it's not about other people, how they perceive you, but also for your own sake. You kind of have to, you know, even with situations with collaborations or like a song gets rejected or somebody doesn't respond to you from the industry, it's the same thing. Like, you know, you just like, okay, it punches your heart or your gut right at that moment. And then you just move on, right? You can't really
exactly
like, why this is happening to me or whatever, because I learned instead of following up on emails or whatever, I found myself being busy writing new songs. And at first, the very first time, I would wait for somebody, like as soon as I had to send, and I'm just like, you know, like looking at my inbox. But now I don't even do that anymore because I guess I conditioned myself to keep on working on new stuff. And I like it that way.
Yeah.
And thank God, because there was one person that I really wanted her to respond to me. It took her a year to respond. 1 year. And by that time she left that place you know, and she has her own company now.
That's great.
And she was like, oh yeah, you know, and I'm like, what? Like, who is this? And I was like, I looked at the email, it had the year before. I'm like, wow, imagine if I just really got stuck on just waiting for her all this time.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, just I say throw seeds, plant your trees everywhere, you know, and you don't look at the seed, you know, while it's growing. You just like tend it, right? And then you just move on, you know, and then, you know, once in a while look at it. Yeah, right.
So important, because people are, and we forget that sometimes, those people that we hit up are super busy. Maybe not right this second, but like usually they are, and they get bombarded. So they get like 500 emails a day, and then they have work to do. So if we send them a song like, oh, this is a happy pop song, but they're needing something really dark, suspenseful, like they don't have time to check that out right now because they have to do their job, you know? Yeah. So it's like they
don't have to respond to us.
They don't have to respond.
Really owe us anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to think that like, oh my God, they haven't responded to me. They don't talk to me. So I had to learn that too, to just like forget. So we in taxi music, we used to say like, write, submit, forget, repeat. You know, you just like kind of.
I like that.
Yeah, keep doing your thing, like you said. Right, yeah. You know, repeat it. Just keep writing music. Don't sit there and dwell on it and think, oh, I suck. My music sucks. And you get better by doing what you're doing because
you're working your muscle. I'm way better than last year, and last year I was way better than the year before. I could see it, and it makes me want to even write more because I want to like discover what am I going to write next, kind of thing, you know, because I'm actually being surprised for myself. Like, oh, I can write this word. What? I came up with this. You know, it makes me feel good about myself.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so
so where can we find you? Where can people reach out to you? if they want to work with you?
Definitely on Instagram, because like I said, I look at memes, so you'll find me there. So and Instagram is easy to use. Facebook, I'm there too, but for some reason they keep on changing so much. So I don't know if I'm really good at keeping in touch on Facebook as much as Instagram, but I'm there too. I'm definitely there too. So
and just
yeah,
Amira Gadd, right?
at Amira Gadd.
Gotcha.
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Any last advice for people that you want to share with them for the holidays, for the new year? Aspiring singer-songwriters, creatives.
Any advice? If you feel in your heart that you are good, then you are good. I definitely felt it in my heart that this is what I want to do, and that I am really good with lyrics. And I'm not saying this because somebody told me or anything, or I didn't even take classes about that, or later on I did take the songwriting coach class, but it's because in my heart I knew I can, and I advise everybody to keep learning. If you take classes, mentorship really saves you years, things, and don't just stop, keep on showing up. Showing up is what helped me in a lot of ways, because the more I showed up, the more people recognized my name and saw me. So for sure, definitely show up, and I am one of the biggest believer that if you work on something there, eventually the fruits will come out from it. I'm biggest believer of work. Nothing is handed. If you want something for yourself, you have to go out there and get it yourself. So that's it. And also everybody has to get to know you too, because you are the most, like, one of the most talented people. You're so sweet, you're so kind. You're so fashionable. Everything about you is beautiful. And you're so easy to collaborate with you. Like I had a collaboration with you. You're just so professional, right?
Thank you.
And it's like one of my favorite collaborations ever. So
yeah, I look forward to more. Right back at you. I love working with people. You are easy to work with. You're so talented, and you get shit done. And you're on me. And I always tell people, like, be on me, because I admit that I shiny. I get easily distracted, and we all have a lot to do. So it's really important to keep one another, held accountable. That's very important. Thank you so much. It was so great chatting with you. And I know that many people will get so much out of this. So very, very grateful to have you on. And I wish you happy holidays.
Thank you so much.
With your family. Are you doing anything special for the holidays?
We're just in lockdown. So I mean, we're gonna.
Do you have some tradition, because you have family in Egypt, which is like so awesome. Yeah. That's another place I really want to go. Is there any specific like things that you would do in Egypt? Like, do you even like
for Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, in Egypt, of course, some, people celebrate Christmas. They, put up trees and exchange gifts. And then at work, people dress up and, and celebrate Christmas. And they have like, Christmas songs in Arabic too. They call Santa Claus, they call him Papa Noel. I think it's French. Papa Noel, for like Saint Noel.
Papa Noel. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yes, yeah. So they call him. And then because there's 3 different sects of Christianity, so everybody celebrates it on a different day. So Christmas in Egypt is like 25 days, because it starts on December 25th, but the actual Egyptian Coptic Christmas is January 7th.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's like, so there's like ongoing Christmas over there in the Middle East. Actually, it's not just Egypt, but in the Middle East.
In the Middle East,
yeah. And I think the whole entire Middle East call him Papa Noel. Right now, they probably call him Santa Claus because there's more English, but French was like more the term that was been used. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's
oh wow,
yeah, it's pretty great.
That is so cool. I learned something new. Thank you.
Yeah, and awesome. Then it's always associated with New Year's, and New Year's is a big deal in Egypt too. And the tradition over there is breaking glass on New Year's. I think a lot of people in Europe do that too. Oh. Yeah, because they believe that when you break glass, it repels the negative energy I don't know if it has to do with like Greek traditions, because we have like, we're so diverse in Egypt. We don't have just one tradition. We have tradition from, Egypt is very old. So, and we carry every single era that we had, we don't delete the tradition of the previous era. So we combine everything. That's why we have a lot of festivities, a lot of holidays, because it's like all over everybody. So, but the biggest one is like breaking glass on New Year's when it turns 12, to repel negative energy from the previous year, so the new year will come with a new one. And so everybody's thinking because 2020 was horrible that there's going to be lots of glass. A lot. Everybody's breaking everything. That's actually hilarious. I saw the meme. I saw the Eric meme for that. That was funny.
The stores will be making a lot of money by like selling glass the next day. Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, everybody's breaking everything that they have. Get out! Like, get rid of. Good riddance. They're like good riddance.
So interesting. I know in Germany, when people get engaged, they break, but it has to be porcelain, I think. They break like plates and stuff like that.
It's the same idea. To repel the negative energy and bring the blessings. Yeah. Allow blessings to come in the air, right? Yeah.
I'll be breaking some glass. Why not?
Right? I know.
That is awesome.
My mom said she's gonna do that, which is funny because it's like, she was like, yeah, I'm like getting ready for this. So I thought that was interesting. And it also like makes me think about how people a long time ago were so genuine in science. Like right now, you would think it's superstitious, but there's something scientific that has to do with the energies and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's
that makes sense. Yeah.
When I was young, because like in Egypt, the big deal was about wearing blue stones to repel people's like the evil eye kind of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the khamsa thing.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. Khamsa in Arabic means 5. It's for the 5 fingers. So like
I have earrings like that. I love that.
Yeah. Yes. So khamsa means 5, the number 5. Uh-huh. So a big thing was like the blue stone, and I think it's a Turkish tradition because we had Turks who took over Egypt for a little bit. So we carried on, and I used to think like, so every single baby when they're born, they're given that little blue stone and they have to wear it. So I remember when I was 20 years old, I went to a wedding and I wore that because it matched what I was wearing. It looked so pretty. And I always thought it was just superstitious, like, because how could a stone like, protect you? Like, you know what I mean? And so I went to this wedding and I looked really beautiful. Like it just happened that, my mom sold me this dress that looked really, really beautiful. And everybody was stopped, like really commenting. And then I could see there was a lot of people who are not happy. I saw it with my own eyes and they didn't hide it. You know what I mean? This is how I know, like you could tell they were grunting about it, right? The second day I got into one of the biggest car accidents in my life. And the weirdest thing about this accident, other than how this was actually a funny accident, I'll tell you about it later, but it was so big. And I remember when I was sitting in the car while the police was investigating me about what happened and whatever, I looked at my necklace and it was supposed to be like the blue stone is in the middle and there's like a flower thing, right? It was crushed like that. It was gold. It's real gold, right? It's like crushed like this. The blue stone, it was broken in pieces.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like literally crushed. And it made me think, I'm like, no. Like, no. But it really made me think. And it's like an observation. And like, that's weird. Like I got into a car accident the second day but I didn't even hit anything. And the necklace is like up, it's like very high in my neck. And it's like this. It's like the flower was like crushed like that. And I was like, that's so bizarre. Like it's so bizarre,
strange,
but
wow.
Yeah.
No, I have stones everywhere. Like I believe there's a lot of power in stones and
now I believe in it too. Like I said, like at first I used to think it's superstitious, and now I believe that there's all these scientific things
energy.
like herbs and stones and nature is beautiful and it's full of stuff. And we don't, like you said, people who walk in nature, it's healthy to walk into
So
when you say about being barefoot in the grass, I learned that in yoga. I didn't know about that because we were conditioned to, you can't walk without shoes or slippers or whatever. But it turned out that was actually the healthier way to do things.
We got to ground
so
ourselves.
Etiquette sometimes actually ruin us, you know.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, because we're so taught, like, you know, I mean, even when you watch TV, or when you go in the store, what do they promote? They promote all the sugary things, all the unhealthy stuff. When get back to the basics, you know, like basic little herbs, like going outside, just eating a orange versus like drinking the orange juice. I mean, it's just like little things that nature is so abundant and it's so healing, you know, that we often forget that. I also think health-wise that instead of always running to the doctor right away, maybe just like, you know, maybe do like an intermittent fasting or something, like give your body a break, right? Give your body a chance to heal and to slow down and observe.
Observing is so important. It's so important. Critical thinking is so important.
So important. That's such a great note to end on, because yes, don't believe everything you hear from what you're being fed, because that's a very dangerous thing, especially for the children in school. You know, they're being taught a lot of things that are not good for them, you know. So critical thinking, and I think it comes back to you as a parent, that's great that you can teach your children that, because they learn from you and they, you know, hopefully have their
we critical think all the time. And my daughter was in a debate team. I had her be in a debate team because I wanted her to always, and even if she's not, like, say, you know how like when you don't agree with somebody, I want them to learn it's okay to agree to disagree. And that it's okay, because everybody's different. Everybody's brought up different. Everybody has a different background. So, you know, everybody has different ideas. And sometimes when you're standing and you see the number 6 at where you are, it looks like a number 9 at where the other person is. So you're not wrong and the other person is not wrong. It's like, it's different views. So
it's perspective.
It's like the art of conversations without fighting, it's gone. I'm like, I don't understand it.
Crazy.
You know,
it's a crazy
if you know how diverse my family's views are, and that we're all getting along, you will not believe it, that we're not killing each other already, right?
I know.
It's funny. So
it's so important, because I mean, oh God, I'm so glad you're saying that, because and it's hard sometimes, because you want to, you know, you believe what you believe, and that's fine. And then someone else, like, so it's important when you disagree to not say I'm right and you're wrong, but to just say, well, you know, this is how I see it, and hopefully people can accept that, because that's important. I don't have to think like you. I don't have to see it like you. And maybe being my biggest
and I don't have to do what you do, the doing part. Because this year I noticed a lot of people were twisting people's arms. Or expecting people to do certain things because of their beliefs. And they're not even giving time for people to even think about it, to do it. They want just people to do it without even thinking. And that was my biggest disappointment this year of seeing that. It's kind of scary.
And the blaming and the shaming, you know, the blaming and the shaming.
The shaming.
And the cancel culture, it's very dangerous, and it's very unhealthy, and it's not, it is not the solution. I think for me personally, I try to be more listening, because I've got caught up in that too, where I'm like, oh my God, no, too on that side, like no, you know, like I don't have time for this. And listening, I think that is very important for us, to just like say, okay, you have this opinion and you feel so strongly about it. Let's hear why, you know, let's have this conversation, not on Facebook fighting with one another and like attacking one another, but in person. Let's talk in person, you know, let's try to understand.
Sometimes you write something and it's misunderstood. I hate the people that people can read your tone of your voice from a text, or no, I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't work that way. Cancel culture was, it's a big disappointment for me, because first of all, we are in a free country, very free country.
Yes.
And I lived in Egypt for 9 years, and I love Egypt. I love everything about it, but there's a lot of things that are censored.
Yeah.
And believe me, you do not want to live in a country where you start being censored,
No.
or you're scared to speak up, because that, we're free. We are literally, I mean, America, USA, I'm a proud American. We are not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but we are in one of the best countries in the world. No matter how many times you try to do it or anything, we are literally in the best country. We still have opportunities. If you want to go out and work and study and do anything, that you will get results from it, no matter what. You guys have no idea. And I'm hoping that we preserve that. When we still have that freedom of speech, the freedom of everything, the freedom of being who you want to be and who you are. When you start taking that away from somebody else, because, and it's a turnoff. When you're being canceled because of something, and you think people are going to respect you,
it's bullshit. It's just
the opposite. I get turned off.
Me too. I mean, honestly,
that's like gang effect. To me, it's like high school, when one person in one popular kid tells somebody, "Don't do this," or else, no, we can do things way better.
Yeah, you're being a bully when you do that, and
bully. Yeah, exactly. I felt bullied this year, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm just saying out there, several times I felt bullied because of certain things, and I did not. I didn't like it. And then when I tried to explain my opinion, I was shut down. And so I decided, you know what? I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah, same. Because I grew up in East Germany, and same thing. Let me tell you, censoring.
Yeah,
freaking socialist bullshit.
Socialism, right?
Yeah, and I kept saying this, and people think I'm crazy. They're like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "Oh, I do, because I grew up in it, and my parents grew up in it, and we didn't have freedom, and so I fought for my freedom. I actually escaped East Germany, and I live in America, and I love fucking America because it's given me so much opportunity, and it's still." And I always say to Americans, I'm like, "If you're complaining so much, get out." Because, guess what? Yeah. I didn't like Germany. I mean, I love Germany, but I wanted to come to America, and I love it here.
There's a reason why people come here. There's a reason why people are fleeing, and now they're changing it to where they fled from, right? That's what I don't understand. So
the grass is always greener. People don't understand that, oh, Europe is so much better because you have all this. And no, they have their own problems. Every country has their problem.
There's pros and cons everywhere.
Yeah.
Jacqueline, there's pros and cons everywhere. But you and I, because we live somewhere else, but we see the bigger picture.
Oh, grateful.
So anybody who doesn't like over here, why don't you try? How about that? I'm not going to say leave yet. Why don't you just go live wherever you want to go a year, where how you want, you have a vision of what you want America to be, then go to the place that has that already, experience that, and then come back and let's have a talk.
And then we have a talk.
Maybe try to convince us, right? Yeah. Go to Cuba. How about this? Go to Cuba or Venezuela, or let's go to Nigeria, right? And or maybe, like you said, somewhere in Europe, Bulgaria, because let's just go there and try to live there and try to see if we can be who we are, so
oh my God, I just love that we had this discussion, because I've gotten so tired of that. And I actually at some point I really didn't want to, but at some point I deleted some people because I was just like, I'm not supporting that, and I'm not wasting my time on it, and I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not going to be judged by my beliefs and my opinions, because I matter too, and my opinions, I'm not going to. And in our industry, it's also very dangerous because you have to be so careful what you say. And I found it easier to just not talk about it on Facebook and have that conversation in person.
Honest, my dad, I remember my dad before he died, he would tell us this. He was like, don't talk about politics or religion.
Yes.
And that was a big advice. And I didn't delete anybody who I had arguments with, because I honor the fact of the part of, this is me, this is my opinion. I didn't want them to think that that I'm not okay that we disagree, you know what I mean? Because I was trying to, I wanted to show them that it's okay to agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I but I stopped talking about my opinion, whatever, because I didn't feel like I was valued,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't feel like it was fair, you know, in a way. And I've been, and my integrity and my ethics or my beliefs were being questioned just because I didn't do what they did.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, no, it doesn't mean that I'm not doing certain things, that I'm not doing other things
Right.
that support the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt like I felt very upset and actually a little depressed because I didn't want to see, you know, our country to turn into the very thing that we were running away from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I was only deleting a few people that were really basically calling me like
No, if they're
racist
calling
and
you names or
your
anything,
names. And I
okay,
was like, you know what?
that's a delete. No, no, no.
I'm like, first of all, you don't even know me that well. And second off, I don't need this in my life. You know, toxic people have no place, drama has no place in my life. And I'm sure you're the same way, you know. So life's been short.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know,
And if you notice in my social media, Instagram and Facebook, it's literally focused on music, and that's it.
yeah. Yeah.
You don't see my kids on there. You don't see my personal, like, what is Amira doing right now kind of thing, because
No cool pictures.
I mean, this is a choice that I made. I wanted people to know what I do more than who I am, in a way, because I mean, I am a lyricist, but I'm just saying that I really wanted people to focus on exactly and see right in front of them, like, what I do. And it worked really good for me because it made so many people, it made it easier on music supervisors to see exactly what type of person I'm doing, you know, like what I am.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a headache. I love debates, but I'm willing to have discussions and conversations with people who know how to carry a conversation.
Yes.
And who critical think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Open-mindedness is something that we all have to practice.
Yeah, it needs practice, because sometimes I hear things that really make me feel like, what? But then I'm like, but again, because I do not want to be a hypocrite.
I know. It's easy to.
Yeah, right. Like, you know, I tell myself, you know what? It's okay. You know, I have to accept it, you know, regardless. Because that person also is like me, you know, that person is that own individual with their own beliefs. And so it's very hard. I want to not be a hypocrite. I really don't want to be a hypocrite, you know, so I'm trying to practice that, and it's a practice.
It's a practice. We all have things I think we all learn from this, that, you know, it's not always, because obviously when you have strong beliefs, you want to fight for your beliefs. You want to stand your ground. And so it takes time. It's almost like songwriting. When you have this great line and you're like, man, I love this line, but everybody else is like, it's not that good. And
I got good at that. Like, tell me what you have. Like, I'm curious. And it's always brilliant. Yeah.
And if it gets voted out, it was for the better of the song, and you move on and you use that line somewhere else, right? Like you don't hang on to it and be like, oh, I really need this line in this song. You put the ego away and do for what's best. And I think that's what we have to learn in life, where put your ego aside and, like, do you honor a relationship, or is the relationship more important than a stupid opinion about something? And can, you know, because I mean, people getting like a divorce and best friends for life, like, you know, are not friends anymore because of politics. That is just insane. It's just absolutely insane, because it's something you don't really even have control over. So focus on the things you actually can control, which is your own environment, your own.
Yes. It is politics. It is bigger than all of us. Like, I believe we're all puppets in a big game. And so, and they're just sitting down, like, whoever is like creating this drama is sitting down, eating caviar somewhere. Yeah. And they're enjoying that, because honestly, I believe that, you know, anything that's done to make people angry and whatever, and continue to do that, it's literally, in my mind, I believe with all my heart, it's done on purpose to break the society.
Absolutely.
And so you have to be bigger than that, and not happen. It's like somebody who's causing a problem in your family. You know what? You know, are you like a strong family and don't you know, you're going to stop it, or are you going to allow, you know, sisters and brothers not talking to each other kind of thing? It's simply a nation. You know, the best way to break a nation is to have the people, you know, start hating each other, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's how you can control people. You can control people when they're all together and they're strong and they're unified, you know. That is,
we can be united and we're all different.
Yeah. And that's the beauty.
Cool.
We are meant to be different. We are meant to have different opinions, and that is beautiful, you know. But I think deep down, we all want the same things. We want love. We want to be loved. We want to be happy.
Exactly.
We want to do
love, health, and money.
Exactly, you know. So let's focus on that.
Yes.
Oh my God, such a great conversation. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that we're gonna write more, and that, you know, 2021 is going to be even better. I think, all things considered, 2020 was actually a good year for, and not
for like an interesting coming year.
Interesting, and for growth and stepping outside of our comfort zone, you know, and really exploring how we can manage when things are not normal.
Yes.
And I think we all learned from that, and we all have grown from that, and let's take that to the next year and make it fantastic.
I wish everybody success. I wish everybody love. I wish everybody new beginnings, health for sure, prosperity. That's the best thing, you know. I really wish that with all my heart to everybody around the world. So thank you so much.
My dog is sitting there like, he's like, okay, it's me time. It's you time, baby.
The door too. That's funny. But.
I know, right? Well, thank you, and we'll talk very soon. Okay.
Okay. Bye, Jacqueline.